This is the photo of the night right here, my man. All good. We're all good over here. For folks who are just listening, this is Kevin Holland. Alex Oliveira, he doesn't really have a rear naked choke because you could see in the photo he's underneath the arm of Kevin Holland, so he doesn't really have anything set up there. But Kevin Holland is he's poised, he's composed, he's chilling. And I was just surprised because the way that Alex Oliveira took Kevin Holland's back, I was like, this is what I was talking about right here. That grappling, that is just like that's just a step ahead. However, Kevin Holland, the moment it got back onto the feet and he was able to land that monster of a right hand that he has, it was all downhill from there. Kevin Holland is a scary man when he starts fighting downhill on anybody. This is Alex Oliveira's fourth loss in a row, AJ. We talked about this earlier. Kevin Holland, he looked like a much larger man with a big reach at welterweight, but you did make a good point. Noticeably slower at welterweight. You know what I mean? Alex Oliveira was able to get in on some shots that you're like, yo, people don't normally hit Kevin Holland like that. Like, what's happening here? Give me your assessment on the fight. How big in the career of Kevin Holland of a win is this?
Oh, this is a huge win, man. This is a huge win for Kevin Holland. One of the ones that he needed, especially when he got that new coat of paint. He's dropping down to 170. And it was weird because on the podcast or on the commentary, they were saying that he was going too fast. He was starting too fast. He was just going to burn out. He was like all this stuff. And I was in there thinking, I was like, he looks slow. Like he looks like he's kind of taking his time. And even the first note I wrote down, it looked like Holland wanted to move around a little bit, see how he was going to feel at 170. And that's what kind of let Alex Oliveira get his opportunities, man, get the takedowns. There was a couple of pretty nice, strikes that Alex Oliveira was landing. But the second round started, then I feel like Holland kind of focused up and said, all right, it's time to go. Like, it's time to put this work to this dude and get this thing done. And it was a big difference between the first round, where it was a very up and down fight, very entertaining. Like you said, Alex Oliveira had the back, didn't really have a choke, but had the back, had his moments to where everybody thought Alex Oliveira was going to be like, oh shit, this is going to be a scrap of the night. And the next thing you know, Holland steps up like I expected to be, with that quickness, with that right hand, drops Alex Oliveira, TKO round 2. Big win and almost a bigger loss for Alex Oliveira. You saw it in his eyes when he was about to put the hands up, and it was a real rough loss. You hate to see it because I do think Oliveira is that almost getting into that quintessential gatekeeper position. But he got to go up against the young dogs and Kevin Holland. It was a big win for him. What do you think? What was your big takeaways?
My big takeaway is that Kevin Holland, brother, at the end of the day, like when he wants to put it on somebody in terms of power, he's almost unmatched. Like the precision, the length, the power, he's almost unmatched there. But it is a little focus thing. It is a little like, all right, we got to lock in here. Like the moment he locked in at the end of that first round, coming to the second, that was a different fighter. That wasn't the same fighter. And what was interesting to me is when you look at the stats, man, it didn't feel this way because I thought this would have been a fight of the night type situation if it would have went 3 rounds. But Kevin Holland outstruck Oliveira 50-21. And once again, I'm like, is that what I watched? Because it felt like Oliveira was piecing him up. He was making him miss, doing all that. But Kevin Holland, brother, it's just different. And you could see it when he was hitting Oliveira, he was snapping his head back. Like his head was going. It was flying back. So, I mean, there's not much to say for Kevin Holland here. We need to see it. We know how talented he is. This dude was fighting ranked, legit dudes at middleweight. This is just welterweight, brother. Let's get it. Arguably, there are better wrestlers here at welterweight than there were at middleweight. You know what I mean? You don't want to catch yourself fighting the Sean Bradys of the world and stuff like that, right?
But then he's used to being bigger. He's used to the strength of the bigger wrestlers. So I'm excited to see where he is at 170 because he's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be the taller guy walking in about 192, 190, whatever it is, fighting the dudes that kind of balloon up. Who knows how much weight Cowboy Oliveira's cutting. He didn't get into all that, but still you're used to fighting these dudes who are fighting at 200, 210, and you feel the strength of them, and then you drop down to somebody who's feeling the strength of a 170er, and it's a little bit different. So I'm excited to see how he handles the ground game of his future opponents.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It does also take a little steam off of the win, knowing that Alex Oliveira is 3-7 in his last 10. So it's like, the losses to Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry, Nicholas Dalby, Shavkat Rachmanov, Randy Brown, Nico Price, Kevin Holland, wins against Peter Sabota, Max Griffin, and Carlo Pendersoli. So as much as we know and love the Cowboy Oliveira, he's a fun, flashy fighter, I'd have to imagine he's probably getting the boot soon. You know what I mean? Big win by Kevin Holland, but it is what it is, folks.